I love following him because he is all about positive thinking, positive mindset, how to, live life positively. And when you do, you can do almost anything and everything you want, and be happy, of course, which is, what I'm all about. So the 6 ways that he shared are: number 1, taking time away from the problem. I'll talk more about that. And then number 2, keep your eye on the goal, the long-term goal, so not the problem but on the goal. Number 3, focus on the solution, not the problem. Number 4, seek positivity or seek positive influences. Number 5, think positive thoughts, very important. And number 6, remember and realize that this problem is not forever. It's, there's a saying that all things shall pass. So whether good or bad, it will pass, and you will move on, and life will move on. So it's not permanent, especially if you choose to think positively and do something about it. It will not be permanent. So what are my thoughts? And I thought these are actually really relevant tips, and really kind of useful tips. Well, I found it useful for me, especially last weekend, because I had some difficulties over the weekend and in my personal life, and I actually really found this very helpful for me. And the first one, taking time away, I think this is just really just so simple, but sometimes we don't do. Like how we know that, that this book called Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus talks about how men go into their caves when they are feeling down. Well, it's not just men really. I think women too, and everyone, some sort go into their caves, but maybe it's not so much of a cave. But this talks about how you should take time for yourself and step away from the problem. So whether it is going out for a cup of coffee on your own, or taking 5 minutes of silence in the bathroom. I mean, you might laugh, but I know for sure me as a mummy, and a lot of the mums out there, could so do with just 5 minutes of peace in the bathroom, please. It's just so that we can, why do we do this? It's so that we can regroup, recenter, and think more objectively about the problem at hand. And I think that's just really important, something that we should try to cultivate and do for ourselves on a daily basis. Find time for ourselves to step away from the problems of life every day, whether it's 5-10 minutes or 20 minutes. I now meditate 20 minutes a day every afternoon, and I find that just really helpful, just to have some quiet time to just be quiet and silence and have some 20 minutes of peace. So number 2, keep the eye on the problem. On the goal, not the goal. Keep your eye on the goal, not the problem. So know that what your long-term goal is. So for example, if you're having problem in your relationship, the problem might seem so big at the moment, but if you ask yourself fundamentally deep down, what is your long-term goal? Is it to stay married to this person? Do you want to continue to be with this person? If the answer is yes, then that's your long-term goal. So you know that you ultimately want to be with this person, and therefore, whatever the problem is, you will get through it. And that helps, I think. Or even if you're working on a project or something at work, and you're going through a very big problem because of politics or something else that's going on, know that your long-term goal is to complete the project or achieve a certain position, and therefore this is just a little blimp in the longer scheme of things. And I think when you have a bigger perspective and have the bigger picture, that really helps to have a more realistic perspective of the current problem, because sometimes problems can seem so big, but once we get through them, X months or years down the road, we actually realize, hey, it wasn't like the big deal after all. And often it is like that. I don't know about you, but I find that. Number 3, focus on the solution, not the problem. I think a lot of us often get quite wound up in the problem, and I've talked about this in my previous episodes, and what he talks about is how one should focus on the solution. So think positive and just not dwell on the problem for too long, and just focus on the solution. What are you going to do about it? You have a problem, let's find a solution. Let's be action or solution orientated, and just stop focusing and trying to get yourself even more wound up over the problem. Number 4, seek positivity. I think this is really important, to constantly seek positive influences around you, especially when life is trying to get you down, especially when you have a lot of issues that you're trying to work through. So it's with friends, talk to positive friends, try to maybe steer away from friends who get you down even more. Look for friends, seek friends that are positive and solution oriented, and keep you looking forward to the future rather than dwell in the past. Apart from friends, you could also look around. I mean, the internet is just amazing. There's just so much information out there and motivational stuff out there. So then I do this a lot. I'm constantly searching for motivational, inspirational quotes just to cheer up my day and keep me going, especially when I get really quite stressed out. So that's seek positivity, and I think that's a really good one. And then number 5, he talks about thinking positive thoughts. I think it's very, very important to think positively. Instead of thinking, I can't do it, I can't get through this, think, I can get through this, I can do this. And you'd be surprised how much of us how much of us become what we think. When you think you can, you will be able to. I really believe that. It's like how I believe everyone can paint. It's a matter of whether you set your mind to it or not. And I think that applies to everything in life. If you set your mind to it and tell yourself you can do it, you will be able to do it. So think positive thoughts. But he actually talks about how helpful it is for one to go back to their childhood memories, maybe in terms of, because some people, they don't know where to start, or they don't know how to think positive thoughts. And one of the ways that he shared is to perhaps go back to a childhood memory, think back to the positive times when you're happy. And often when you're a child, you're just really happy because, as a child, you don't have much worries in the world. And I thought this is actually really interesting, given especially what I do, because I truly believe in the art that I do for children, really help them have and build a happy childhood with lots of happy memories. And I think that is so important in forming the child and on their way to become an adult, into adulthood. So I thought, yeah, this was particularly something that was that sort of resonated with me a lot. And then the number 6 tip he actually shared is, this is not forever. Just remember, this problem is not forever, and this too shall pass. There's a saying that, this too shall pass, or there's always, nothing is permanent, and life goes on, life will go on, and it will pass, and you will move on. Just remember that when you're in that situation. And that's it. So those are the 6 tips that he shared. Think positive. Remember, this is not forever. Surround yourself with positive people, positive thoughts, positive quotes. Seek positivity. Focus on the solution, not the problem. And keep your eye on the goal, not the problem. And last one, take some time away. Seek distance. Get some distance. And my take on that is have some time for yourself. Distance yourself from the daily hustles of life. If possible, every day, whether it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes or half an hour, whenever you can, however you can. So that's my little bit for today. I hope you enjoyed that. That's it, and